Hello everyone, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of Occupational Therapy for Life. In this episode, we're going to be discussing where occupational therapists work. So there's a lot of settings that we work, and I thought it was important to mention that because if you're thinking about becoming a therapist, I don't think you're just limited to schools and nursing homes and group homes or something like that, but it's more broad than that. And like I said in earlier videos, you can create a space for yourself because occupational therapy is so broad. It allows you to be creative in your treatment, allows you to be creative in how and where you work. So you could definitely create a space for yourself. Of course, just like anything else, the more you know, the more you'll have at your disposal to be able to carve a space for yourself if that's what you want to do. So that's one of the things that I appreciate about being a therapist. I don't think I even mentioned this before, but I never knew what occupational therapy was until my brother-in-law, who is a therapist himself, had told me about the program. But before that, I knew I wanted to be in a career, but I wasn't sure what path I was taking. At first, I was looking at a path to become an engineer because I used to work with my father, and working with my father, he did construction. So I was like, man, I like working with my father because one, it was hands-on, we're outside, and you're around the guys, you're having conversation, and plus, it gave me insight into a part of my father that they don't have an insight into, where he was funny and he had jokes, whereas at home, this stoic, serious person that it almost seemed like a wall. But enough about my my childhood and daddy. But back to my path. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So when I went to college, I went under civil engineering. But what I realized, I didn't have the math or the technical science, and so to really understand that field, I just knew I wanted to work in construction because I enjoyed, based on my experience with my father and his buddies. But it was much more than that, and plus funding got cut at some point, and so I ended up falling off on that path. Then I tried to do, at the time it was very popular, Microsoft Certified System Engineer. So I was like, oh man, gotta be networking, making a lot of money. And it was one of those courses that was like 6 months, and it's like fast track. You get your Microsoft Certified System Engineer, and you could do all of this stuff. So I did complete the course, but it was a rush course. But come to find out, I needed background information like A plus, which, because you had to differentiate between hardware and software. So I completed the course, but I didn't know enough. And what I found out about that kind of field is that you have to keep networking with people. And if you get a gig, it's almost like a gig, Once that gig is up, you may have to start from scratch, get on the grind, keep looking. So you really have to be passionate about computers. And at the time, my interest was computer was as much as like basically Super Mario Brothers, and logging on and accessing Word and internet, real basic stuff. But it just seemed like a pathway. Excuse me. It just seemed like a pathway to a level of economic security, and not so much security, but when you're young, you're thinking, oh man, got to get some money so I can live on my own, travel with my buddies, and do all these things. So that's the path I was on. So I say all of this to say that my path to occupational therapy wasn't something that I was aware of. Just like I'm speaking to you guys now about occupational therapy, it's not a field that's well known. During my time, it was more like, oh, that's a field where, there was, at the time, considered it's a women's field. Mainly you find women there. And at the time, there was a lot of women in the field, and not too many males. So that was my path. And then through my brother-in-law, he told me about occupational. I was like, what's that? So my brother-in-law saw how I desired to do something with my life. Because, sometimes you have people who are speaking that talk about doing something with their life, but they don't try anything. But he saw that I was trying things. He had good intention, because he's on the same path of trying to make as much of his life as he can be. So he told me about occupational therapy, and he appealed to me in the sense like, oh, if you want to work in computers, you could do different things. He was telling me about how dynamic it is, which appealed to my character, because I'm a person that I don't want to say I get bored, but I like to try things. I like to grow as a person. I like to expose myself to new experiences, whether it's skydiving, motorcycles, or like when I go out, especially with friends, I want to do things versus just sitting around and just be in a space where you're listening to music and chit chat. I want to do competitive things to help me, push me to play games, to learn, to grow. I'm a hands-on kind of that. I like to do things. So that's how I got introduced to occupational therapy. Oh wait, before even that, I even tried to go into X-ray, because at the time X-ray was a big thing, radiology, X-ray tech. And so I tried going to a school at the time, a community school. It was more affordable to try to go through a community school, because there was you didn't have to have a lot of money financially. It could cover some of it. But when I went to 2 interviews, 2 separate years, I found out that there were more qualified candidates going for the X-ray path. So I didn't have the science and other things that I needed to make me more qualified candidate. It was an intense program, and there was limited space, so they can only allow a certain amount of people. So I tried that path for 2 years. That didn't work out. So eventually, through my brother-in-law, went into the path of occupational therapy, and it worked out well. So it's been a long video about me. So this I'm going to be talking about more about where we work, because I want to give you a little quick breakdown about those spaces. But pretty much where occupational therapists can work or have worked, and if I put them new spaces, I have a list here that I'm going to read off of. So one of the places, of course, is long-term care. So hospitals, schools, mental health centers, private practice, correctional facilities, recreation centers, insurance companies, research, roles in government, like you're advocating for the field, clubhouse. So those are pretty much most of the spaces that I came up to my mind. Of course, outpatient rehab and all these things. So the next videos, I'm going to try to give you more input about those spaces that occupational therapists can work. But it's just a quick general input of, why occupational therapists would work there as well. So for now, this is just, I guess, an intro to other videos related on the topic where occupational therapists work. And I thought it was important to express how I became a therapist, because occupational therapy itself is so broad, and it gives you many choices. And which I'm one of those people, I wasn't fortunate enough to be born and I knew what I want to be. I want to be this, and from day one start heading in that path. I was always one of those, I guess you can say, an open character, and in the sense that I'm open to try new things, at least experience it to say I don't like it, versus saying, oh no, it's not for me, so I think it's very important to know who you are or who you want to be, and be in a field that kind of reflect your character, or it's dynamic enough. At least for me, OT is dynamic enough where I can continue working in it. Now, you're not gonna be rich in OT. It's a career just like any other career, but if you specialize, if you write books, if you, I guess, do different things, you can find a space for you to thrive if money is the goal. Because a lot of us, money is not the goal. It's just we're trying to reach a place where we have choice. Because money at the end of the day give you choice. That's what you are seeking ultimately. Yes, it's a perk if you enjoy the career and the things that you do, but at the end of the day, you are ultimately, at least in my case, ultimately seeking freedom. That freedom is not the money, but the freedom of choice that the money will allow me to do. Like if I decide, today I'm gonna go to France and have breakfast and fly to, I don't know, Germany and and have dinner over there and then fly back to America. That'd be one hell of a day or a week, but it gives you choice. And at the end of the day, that's what I'm looking for: choice and options. Money gives you that choice. Money is a tool at the end of the day, and that tool is only valuable if it brings joy, purpose, and function to your life. Because at the end of the day, the money itself, the paper money itself, is not gonna be the source of happiness. The happiness is within me, and through that money, I can express my happiness and share with others as well. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, I'm not your provider. If you have an emergency, call 911, and this is for entertainment purposes. One thing you guys are gonna know: these videos are pretty much spontaneous. But thank you for your support, and look forward to engaging with you guys the next time. And next video is gonna be, I'll take maybe a couple of the places I mentioned on the list where OTs work and give you a little bit more info about it. All right, signing off. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.